But AI has let him put like an industrial magnet around the haystack and suck suck them all out. There could be 100 in there, could be one. They're able to get it. Just pull that needle out of there. So, and then it's like now all of a sudden I have a Wile E. Coyote kind of.
Yeah, the Acme magnet.
Help me with hip hop. Let's get it right. Protect your patience. Day and night. Donna and David, the experts on your side. Help me with hip hop. Let's get it right.
So today we have 3 stories to bring to you, a hodgepodge of things. But we're going to talk about when trust becomes a vulnerability, because all 3 of these stories, they might sound a little bit techie from the start, but it gives us a chance to kind of translate this stuff into stories that you really, really need to understand the implications of, because it's about trust and assumptions and risk. And we talk about all 3 of these all the time, and they all fit under this umbrella. So let's peel the onion.
Wow. That was a lot more than I thought we were going to get as our intro. But peel the onion. Now, we got 3 different stories that all had important things in them. Well, 2 of them are related. That is all important. So I'm thinking, why not just cram them all together? Because none of them make a really full episode.
It's a smorgasbord. Well, it's also, they are stories, but they're also public service announcements. So
and
we're not just going to tell you I'm not going to just tell you a story about what happened. These are things like, you probably need to know this because you may have to do some assessments with some of this.
Might need to go look some stuff up. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, typically it's things that when I send you an article or you send me an article, when the response is usually, oh, crap. And then we're like, okay, we probably need to tell everybody else because they're not paying attention to these things like we are. So,
yeah, it's some of them we don't even try, though. It's just best that we don't even try to translate them because it's not going to make a difference to you. But these 3 where we've got, how AI is helping attackers do things and insider threats and how that could be a weaponization of something, and then actual vulnerabilities that have been found. And there's a lot that happens in what we do that is trust. All the time it's like, well, I have to trust my business partners. I have to trust my employees. I have to trust myself to do what I'm supposed to do. I know, right? I'm supposed to follow the rules too. But, it centers around 0-day discussions. And we've talked about 0 days many times, but I always try to reiterate it's a vulnerability that doesn't have a fix.
Right.
So you have 0 days where you have been able to fix it and prevent it from being a problem. And those are the ones that are the scary ones in a lot of ways. Because what are you going to do?
Mitigate.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got to do stuff like go out and try to block whatever that is if it's something that you have. And you even need to know whether or not it's one that's affecting you. And is it exposed? And then it's like, well, it's not exposed. It's inside. Well, you have to assume they're inside. What are you going to do? So we got the 0-day thing. And we want to get that out there that, multiple times we're going to talk about 0 days and the timing of such locations. But basically it means anybody could use that to do whatever they want to do with it until there's a fix. So, let's do the
some
first.
of these things are like not coming out with a fix.
I know, right? Yeah. So, anyway. So this one I saw in a lot of articles, though. I saw tons of articles with the headline about they published, Google does a regular document about what kinds of things they're seeing. And they published this one, and there were some other parts of the discussion, but the only thing anybody was talking about was it is the first documented evidence of attackers, the adversaries, utilizing AI to identify a 0 day and take advantage of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think this was something that we can say we didn't see coming. It's like the only shocking thing really was that, it took so long. Figured it happened before now.
I know. I'm not surprised that it happened. We knew it was coming. And to some people, it's coming faster than they thought. Others, not so much. But
it's kind of a confirmation story for us. It's like, okay, now we can finally say it's happening. There's no more guessing, whatever. It's there. The sad part is we as business owners and such are still trying to figure out how we can implement AI safely and what can we use it for and how to increase productivity and capacity and all this. In the meantime, the criminals are just eating it up. Like they don't care about any of that. It's just let's use it and let's fill it full of things we can blow people up with and start doing it.
Yeah, look how awesome this is. It makes things so much easier for us.
Yeah, they're not least bit concerned about using it in an ethical manner like we are, so they can move faster than we do.
Well, and the good news before we go freaking everybody out on all of these discussions of 0 days, I don't know that any of these specific, I know there are some 0 days being used in the wild that are creating some concern, but I don't think it's these. And particularly this one where it's the first AI assisted 0 day exploit scenario.
Mm-hmm.
They believe that the people that created, they were able to stop them. And they say that the criminal threat actor planned to use it in a mass exploitation event, but our proactive counter discovery may have prevented its use. That's what they say. So, good news. A mass exploitative, a mass event.
We'll call it the ME2.
There it is. Yeah. So it that was going to happen, and so for every, it's one of those things where people are like, do y'all even try to stop these criminals? And it's like, you don't have any idea how many don't go through, how many are stopped. And it's this assumption that it's just the Wild West and there's no anything stopping them. There are. So that's the good news. Great news. But the downside is that they're doing it so much faster with AI. So they're able to find the vulnerability, develop a way to exploit the vulnerability to use it in an attack, create ways for the attack process to evade the known defenses, then create malware that can figure out how to generate commands on its own when it needs them to accomplish a task. And then these agentic assistants, every step of the workflow, they could be created anonymous functionality at scale. So deep fakes for social engineering, for example, it could figure out, here's a vulnerability. If we use this deep fake, then we can use this to launch that vulnerability. We're going to make this deep fake, and boom, it makes it, it sends it out, it does all of the work. We've already seen those working,
Yeah.
So it's just the speed and the scale that they're able to do it. And we've already been talking about how worried we are about the AI existing that is designed to do this.
Yep. Well, the fact that it changes the speed and scale of things means, they can literally just throw hundreds or thousands of these things at you at one time. And just all they got to do is go, you know what? All we need is one to go through. We've said this before, how, as far as defenses go and the people who are defenders, like we have to be right 100% of the time.
Yeah, every time.
the bad guys they just have to get through once. They just have to have their thing work one time, but we have to defend it every single time. And when you're looking at prior to AI, we were talking about your network's getting hit thousands, if not tens of thousands of times a day. Now with AI, you can 10x, 100x, 1000x.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be crazy.
Well, it's not only, how your network's getting hit, but the way it's getting hit could be 10 times.
Oh yeah.
And the thing that we've always been able to count on, and this is where we get into the title of this episode about assumptions, and our assumptions and trust in those assumptions, that itself is a vulnerability, because we've always had systems in place. The researchers, they're manually hunting. They're using tools. Granted, it's not like they're out there clicking with 2 fingers. Tick, 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 tick. Now, some people can type with 2 fingers very fast. Not me. But, they're out there running now. Even, the researchers that are, the good guys, so to speak, they're running all these AI tools doing the same thing, trying to find them first. But the scary part is both sides are doing it. So both sides of the coin have a massive step up in their ability. And, I think back to when we kept trying to tell people that, the amount of money they had raised in ransomware years ago allowed them to take it a step up, so that you didn't have to be able to write code anymore. There were people that were selling the code. And even now there's an AI based phishing kit that you can just buy, and it does it all, and you can plug it in yourself. So now they find these ways to utilize those vulnerabilities and find the vulnerabilities faster and make the phishing faster, and blah, blah. So the fact that the 0 days, you may find one if the researchers or the good side AI, I don't know, because you would never call them knights in shining armor. If you met most of these people, they would be a lot of things. But, they can find them quickly and then start submitting them. And the process is, that they find one and then they submit it to the vendor. But they're technically looking for like needles in a haystack, right? That's really, and maybe I'll land on one, maybe I won't. Let me just jump. And but AI has let him put like an industrial magnet around the haystack and suck suck them all out. There could be 100 in there, could be 1. They're able to get it. Just pull that needle out of there. So, and then it's like, now all of a sudden I have a Wile E. Coyote kind of.
Yeah, the Acme magnet.
Yeah. Well, we may have to draw us up one of those cartoons. But, like we always say, you treat these AI tools like really smart interns that will argue with you.
Yeah.
Which is,
so just like you're one of your kids then.
Yeah. And it just keeps bringing back stuff, and bringing back stuff. And the good news is that they are really, really smart interns and they can help us all.
Mm-hmm.
But the other side's doing the exact same thing. So think of it like, here's the burglar going around the house one by one on your street, opening windows, checking doors, seeing if they can get in. But now it's not just houses on your street. It's every door and every window in every domicile in a large city all at the same time. It's the force multiplier. And then when they find one, it's like a whole bunch of drones just go flying in the doors with the vision you should have.
Yeah.
But this is exactly why you and I have been simultaneously excited and terrified every time we talk about AI. And it
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it boils down to its use. And we know people are going to use it for bad. We have to find ways to use it to counteract that. And that's, we're doing it at what level we can do. We are not requiring, we're hoping that the security vendors are doing it, within those security tools. And I know a lot of them are. And so you're getting the use of AI, even if you're somebody who's like, we don't use AI in our organization. Well, most likely you do, because the security tools are going to have it baked in and all this other stuff. And you want that. Like you want us to be able to use the same level of, I guess ammunition, for the lack of a better word. You want to fight fire with fire. You want to fight AI with AI, or whatever the case might be. But you've also at the same time have to have the human in the loop, so humans stay in control. And those are the things we're balancing to try to figure out.
Well, even on the criminal side, they have humans in the loop. They're doing the same thing. And, it was something I was reading in that Google article, how they're using all these different ways to get around limitations on your accounts with all the different AI tools, so that they can make their AIs run, but they end up being anonymous and managing to steal, basically, processing times, which, on some of the tools you get X amount of processing, and that's it. You don't get any more. But for the most part, you have to wonder, if they're out there whizzing past first, let's say all of the terms and conditions say you can't do that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they read them as closely as you and I did when we clicked right through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like they're doing something that they want them to do, but it's also not easy to catch, even by AI, because of how they're doing it. So, it's.
I don't know if you've seen this yet, but I'm just wondering how it's going to affect the social engineering aspect, where now you've got AI is making a voice call to you, and they're social engineering you based on all the information that they're able to pull, because, not that everybody would just put all kind of crazy information in AI about them personally. But, just today I was reading an article about somebody made a recommendation. Some big name person in the finance world was like, use AI and upload your financial documents, and it'll tell you how to create a budget and all this other stuff. And then of course they had to go back and say, I should have said, redact all this stuff first, but that's just it. How many people are doing that? Are they redacting the information? Because some people are like, it's just a bank statement. It's just, it's just a credit card statement. I don't have any personal information in there. Well, if it's your name and all your expenses, it's not very hard for me to craft a phishing email towards you, and I know exactly where you purchased something, the date you purchased it, and how much you spent.
Yep.
It sounds pretty doggone believable. You're like, I actually did spend that at that place at that date and time. This must be legit.
Yep. And here's one that'll really make it scary for you. All of those breached medical records that had a lot more detail in it, now think of what they can do to engineer you.
Yeah.
They buy those and dump them into their LLM, and it spits out, all kinds of data that they would know to carry on a conversation with you, and you wouldn't have a clue.
Yep.
And of course, the AI would know to carry on a conversation with you. That's what I'm saying. Like, the people are just telling it to go do it.
Yeah.
So,
because eventually there's enough data points where AI is building a profile on you.
Well, and that's the thing is that, they've always talked about how much more valuable a medical record is than a financial one. And now it's just like anything else. The bottom line is AI is a force multiplier. It's going to accelerate everything, including discovering the vulnerabilities in the systems, but also the vulnerabilities in the human.
Oh yeah.
But we're going to
Yep.
worry the most right now about the human is the hardest part to secure. So
Mhm.
we're going to worry about the systems, but the speed means we're going to have less time to react to patches. Because when the patches come out, the chances of being able to get them in quickly. I mean, you've always said we got to be careful about how we put these things in, but now they're coming so quickly. What are you going to do?
Yeah. Yeah. It's patching is always the challenge. Always.
Yeah, and I
And
try to put like a week delay on something, and I can't anymore unless I sit there and
yep.
go through every single one and make those decisions. And I
Well,
just don't have it in
and
me.
not just that, but you've got these patches. Let's say you are somebody who's trying to do this yourself, which I don't even see how you could do it. But there are often times where we apply patches and they don't work. The patching never happens. And so if you're the whole person that's like, well, patches are automated. I clicked apply, and so the patch
It's
applied,
done.
right? And I'm like, no, not always. There's a number of times we find patches all the time, and sometimes they're big ones. Like this should have updated, and it's a massive update, but it did not work, and we have to go in and we have to manually apply it. And sometimes we have to go in and change registry keys or whatever. Sometimes it can be complex, but patching, and we're not even talking about firmware patching, but patching in and of itself is a job.
Yeah, and there's a lot of automation happening in that world, but it's not automation that there are so many variables. It's going to be time before the AI could take into account all the variables in each individual machine.
Mm-hmm.
But we know that healthcare organizations have already struggled with this. They don't have the people to deal with it. They don't have the patching being managed. So this is something that is an alert, which is
Indeed.
an alert is a small yellow little being with fuzzy. Okay, the next one we have is the two articles kind of together. The disgruntled researcher and insider risk scenario. That there's this was kind of tricky because it's a researcher who has previously this year, they released two or three other 0 days earlier this year, and making them public before Microsoft had a patch. And that's part of that trust factor is when the researcher finds something, they tell the vendor, and then they don't tell anybody else. They don't make it public until the vendor fixes it. But we also know in the industry, there are a lot of heated discussions about the fact that vendors then take their time fixing it, thinking you've got to keep your mouth shut about it. So we'll fix it. We don't think anybody's going to find it.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you have, that going on. And anyway, after that, somewhere along the way, this researcher put out a blog that they believe that it is rumored that this is a disgruntled Microsoft employee that is doing this, but it's still right now considered the mystery researcher. Yeah.
He must be wearing an anonymous mask.
I don't know, but the bottom line is that this process of finding these things and then turning them over, it requires a lot of trust. There's a lot of trust, and it raises concern when you release them before the fixes are there, because the attackers now know it and there's no fix, and everybody gets upset. But at the same time, if I've told them over and over and over, and this has been going on for a long time, how long am I supposed to let that happen? So that's where we end up.
Once you start telling the public, then it'll put a fire under them.
And there are times where they haven't even gotten, there's researchers who publish things and they say, look, we notified them on this date, this date, this date, and basically crickets. They didn't even get a
Yeah.
confirmation, and
Wow.
we've heard stories where they find one and they even call people and notify somebody, look, you've got this problem, a vulnerability, and it's your configuration, and people are like, no, we don't. Click. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I had one similar, and it wasn't. It was a website recently. One of our clients, a malicious pop up came up on a website, and it was a sizable healthcare site. And I emailed. Oh, actually, I called in. I was like, I don't know who to talk to because I get the whole press 1 for this, press 2 for that. For some reason, there's no press anything to talk to cybersecurity specialists.
I don't know why.
But so I was like, I don't know who I need to leave this voice message for, but you've got a vulnerability on your website that's causing malicious pop-ups. So just want to let you know, if you want to call me back, you can, whatever. It was like 20 minutes later and the chief technology officer of the organization called.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so, and they handle it immediately.
Well, see,
But,
now that's what you like to see. Not only
Yep.
did you just leave this random message, it got routed to the right person. In a quick turnaround, they're contacting you, which is amazing. But for the future discussion, for anybody that finds something like that and it's a healthcare entity, you can go to their website, look for the notice of privacy practices, which should have contact name, number, email address to get to the privacy officer, who one would think should know who the security officer is.
Yeah, they did have the email compliance at whatever.
Yeah.
But I was hoping to get somebody on the phone.
Oh yeah, but they should
Just
have
to
a
be
phone
sure,
number
but-
and an email.
I don't recall seeing the phone number, but
Okay,
anyway,
we won't go into that
They
then.
responded. Yeah, they responded appropriately. So
Yeah, it sounds impressive how they responded. That's great. So anyway, this researcher has found, quote unquote, if it's really a Microsoft employee, they may know these things exist, is part of the conversation, or that has been implied. Or yes. Anyway, right after, and I think it's interesting, they did it right after Patch Tuesday. And I think the first ones were after a Patch Tuesday. And Patch Tuesday is the monthly big rollout of updates that Microsoft does. And sometimes Patch Tuesday, you don't even know Patch Tuesday happened. And other days, people's hair is on fire. And it's almost like they look for them to mention these two that they just released, maybe. I don't know. If you don't mention it in here, then we're going to tell. So, but what was the handle? This researcher, Nightmare Eclipse.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know, right? And they named the two different things. The real concerning one is Yellow Key, and their quote when they published it: "One of the most insane discoveries I ever found." And they have some files, and you load them onto a USB drive, and then if you can follow this sequence correctly, they're granted access to a BitLocker protected machine. It's like BitLocker gets turned off. It's a backdoor.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, this is another reason why we lock USB ports on machines. So, and then it's this whole thing with zero trust. Like we don't trust the device until you try to use it, and then we can talk about adding it to the trusted device. Otherwise, we want to make sure we stop things like this from happening. Now, granted, you do have to have somebody that's going to walk in and physically plug that thing in, but I mean, I've seen people being talked into doing some crazy things.
Yeah.
And they do it.
Exactly. Well, plus, think of all the stolen equipment. Oh, it's encrypted. We don't have to worry about it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now we still going to be able to have that safe harbor. I mean, nobody's saying anything yet, but we also have quantum computing coming. A lot of things. The safe harbor is slowly getting hacked away until it sinks.
Well, it's funny. When this came out, like last week, I was in a meeting with some other MSPs, and one guy said, I wish I'd have known about this a few weeks ago. We had a person that had a BitLocker enabled computer and we couldn't get through it. We could have done this and got in there.
Wow. They love it.
There is that. But yeah, I mean, think about how many times, we've said, make sure your stuff's encrypted in case it's lost or stolen, and how many of those devices may be out there. Heck, even people who've donated computers.
Yeah. And not taking the drives
and they're
out.
encrypted. Yeah. So it's a risk. It's just certainly a risk.
Yeah. I mean, well, that right there is one of the reasons that, we still take the drives out and destroy them. And they're like, well, if they're encrypted, why are you doing? Here's why, right here.
Right. Because the assumption is that for some reason this encryption will never be broken. And let's not get on quantum computing, but at some point it will be.
Yeah.
In fact, kind of along that same story, I saw an article, and I didn't read the whole thing. Somebody recently was able to recover 3 Bitcoins that had been locked into a wallet for like over a decade with the use of AI.
Really?
Yeah. Didn't read anything more about it, but yeah, using AI, they somehow got back into a wallet that was on a hard drive.
That's even worse news for people that are into the,
Yep.
So the good news, though, I mean, the bad news is if this ever really became a frequent used thing, it's possible that OCR could come back and say, Houston, we have a problem. We've acknowledged this safe harbor. Right now, that's an OCR thing and not for us to worry about. But from what everybody can tell, it's a proof of concept thing that the researcher did not release what the code is or how they do it or any of those things, just that it's possible and they've submitted it and it hasn't been taken care of. So maybe it's a wake-up call. You can't just trust the encryption, but that's just worse.
Yeah.
But that's BitLocker encryption. And there's a lot of other encryption options. So maybe this is time you start asking that question, right?
Yeah. And that's, the whole pushback on that is going to be, well, BitLocker's included. Why do I want to pay for another option?
Same reason Windows Defender, is, but
yeah,
it is the exact same problem. And the hardware encryption, maybe, I don't know, but there's so many variables coming at us. Encryption is the next thing that's going to have to be rebuilt or reconsidered. Let's call it that. So to think that, it's encrypted, I don't have to worry about it, you need to get that on your radar. That is not the case. Not the thing. So, yeah. And they released another one. The same researcher at the same time released one about how you could get, they called this one green plasma, because, a privilege escalation flaw giving attackers system level access. That is a lot more concerning as far as you could use it as a vulnerability, but there's still variables, but turning off, making encryption absolutely irrelevant is what's gotten everybody's attention. And it's for real, So, but what do we need to learn from all of these? The most dangerous person, maybe somebody already at your office.
Yeah.
Staff frustration and resentment can become a cybersecurity risk. It is something that we put on the SRAs when we're working with people, and we encourage people. If you notice somebody that's having whatever, a hard time, a breakup, a health issue, whatever, that's the time to make sure that they're not getting turned over to the the bad side, if you will, or frustration levels where they're breaking rules because they're so frustrated. Because cybersecurity, really, whether we like it or not, depends on trust. And apparently,
Yeah.
trust is not something that we get to keep. I don't know. There's certain things in life where you can trust it, but anybody that thinks I can trust the same stuff over and over and over when it comes to technology and nothing's going to change and people aren't going to change the way they use it, and that's just, as you say, wrong. We've said that for so long.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, we've assumed that, well, I guess the thing we can assume is that finding the vulnerabilities we thought would stay difficult, but now we're seeing that no, not really. Now finding vulnerabilities is starting to become easier, which is good.
Yeah.
On one hand, terrifying on the other.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we've also assumed that trusted experts would always act responsibly. That doesn't always happen. And then, for safe harbor and all that, we've always assumed that encryption is automatically just meant you're safe. I mean, if it's encrypted, nobody can get in it. Well, that's not true anymore either. So maybe we should have called this the Mythbusters episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
But and all these, honestly, if you would have asked us even 6 months ago if these things were still assumed or true, we'd be like, yeah. I mean, encryption is still your best thing, and vulnerabilities are still hard to find, and all this kind of other stuff. But not so much anymore.
Yeah, well, and if you'd ask us then about, well, is AI going to change it? Well, AI will. But I wouldn't expect it to be as fast as it has necessarily. Yeah. Back then, I don't think so.
Well, a lot of things with AI is we understand it's going to have a massive impact. We just don't know how or where.
Yeah.
And that's where all the unknowns are.
And I think
to one extent it's going to save the world. The other extent is going to burn it down. So we don't know.
Which is, it's exciting and terrifying at the same time. So it's exactly where we are. And that's really why, we have to keep talking about AI all the time, because every day you should be worried about it for some reason. So we have our 3 assumptions that we can't do anymore. But what should you do? Don't panic.
Yeah.
Cut out some assumptions. Make sure you have layered protections. We've talked about that over and over, that you can't just have that one thing protecting it. It needs to be multiple layers. You have to assume, that they're going to get through at least 1 or 2 layers. Patch as quickly as possible. Monitor your insiders. We know that. You've got to not assume. Train the employees. How many times have we been talking about that? But you got to also prepare that trust that's in all of that is going to eventually fail.
Yeah. And that preparation is key. I just did a LinkedIn post today. It was about a class action lawsuit that happened after a data breach. And, I'm going to keep pounding this home until people get it. You can have defenses in place, and you should, but you also have to have a program in place, privacy and security program, that makes you defensible. Having defenses does not make you defensible. Having a privacy and security program makes you defensible.
Yes, I concur.
I'm done.
Wow. So, this is the big thing is all the things we talk about, we always talk about that the things we do can reduce risk. We either reduce it happening, or reduce the likelihood, or reduce the impact. That's all we can do. And today, the fact that we know we can't eliminate it, we can just reduce one of those two. Increasingly, we're going to look at assumptions we've been making are the problem, not broken technology or, we just assumed that wasn't going to be a problem.
Yeah. Yep. And, of course, the other thing is too, is if you're not keeping up with all these things, and of course, if you're not in IT, why would you? You may not know that now there's a trust issue with encryption. There's a trust issue with vulnerabilities and things like that. Like all these things, this is why you hire other people to worry about them. Like I don't worry about my taxes because I hire somebody else to do that.
I know, right? Me too.
Because I can't keep up with all that, and I shouldn't have to.
No.
So there we go. All right. Well, that is our show for today, folks. Remember to join us again next week. And until then, remember, for Donna and myself, the HIPAA's not about compliance. It's about patient care.
You've been listening to the Help Me with HIPAA podcast, hosted by Donna Grindle and David Sims. The show created to help you with HIPAA. For more information or to ask us a question, visit our website at helpmewithhipaa.com. Neither Donna Grindle or David Sims are attorneys, and they do not offer binding legal advice concerning regulatory compliance. The information in this podcast should not be relied upon or construed as legal advice in any way. Consult your attorney for legal advice concerning compliance with HIPAA regulations.